Welcome back, everybody. I really come to you guys humbled today. I really come to you guys concerned. I don't get concerned. I don't push fear porn. I'm not a fear monger. But this has me really concerned. This hay bubble, and I know on the onset, people that don't understand where their food comes from, this means very little to them. And that's fine because they're gonna feel the hurt. Everyone's gonna feel the hurt come this fall. Everybody's gonna feel the hurt. This is something that's so concerning to me. I've been on the phone for hours. The last few days, for hours, I've been on the phone. I've been reaching out to distributors. I've been reaching out to producers. I've been talking to all my mentors. I have family, friends, everybody that I can get a hold of and get information on is all telling me the same thing. That I feel like this is one of the biggest kept secrets in agriculture in a long time. I mean, we are really truly looking at a catastrophe of economic apocalyptic proportions. And you guys know me, I don't use those words lightly. But there is going to be a hay shortage this year, and we're already seeing the squeeze now. And so what I want to do is I just want to share with you the facts that I have. I'm going to list and cite all my sources, and I'm going to tell you what my plans are. And I encourage you guys to send this to all people that are food producers that have animals. I have reached out to all the mainstream preppers, the ones that I agree with, the ones I don't agree with, and I just said, hey, please, this is what's happening. Do your own research, and if you think it's important enough, address it to your peers, address it to your viewers. And I don't need credit for it. I even put that in the emails. I don't want credit. I don't need credit. But this information needs to get out there because we are currently in a position. I am currently in a position right now where if I have to buy hay from infrastructure, I am priced out. I am currently priced out of the hay market. And I don't think people realize the devastation that's going to occur come fall time. And so I'm going to lay out all the facts for you guys. I'm going to tell you what my game plan is. And I hope and I pray that a miracle, again, we need a biblical miracle right now in order to make this through it, because realistically, the math does not make sense, and I don't even see how we can subsidize our way out of this. Even for a year, it's gonna be tough. So I'm gonna share with you guys the facts. I'm gonna share with you what we got, and then from there, I'm gonna tell you what our game plan is here at the Myrtle Woods Homestead. So let's get started. So the first thing that I want to show you guys is just the exponential price increases. So as of today, prices have increased 400% since early 2020, first cuttings in June, July, and especially 2019, second cuttings in September timeframe, because the hay season is usually between June and September. And so what I want to do is I want to show you the massive price increases. So I'm going to show you what 2-wire hay alfalfa hay bale is going for right now if you were to buy it from a big wholesaler. So let's take a look. So as you can clearly see, one bale of hay, 2-wire alfalfa bale of hay, $26. And let's just pretend you live in this state with no tax. $26. So if you were to buy from a wholesaler 1 metric ton of alfalfa hay, that's going to cost you $1,300. $1,300. And to put this into real life perspective, in 2020, early 2020, buying 2019 hay, second cutting or third cutting, you're talking about the high end was probably around $250 a metric ton. China, and we'll talk about that here in a little bit, was spending around $350 a metric ton. We're talking about commercial wholesale here. But you buying from a wholesaler to feed your animals on your small farm or homestead, $1,300 fucking dollars. Again, the numbers speak for themselves. It's as plain as day. So let's talk about why some of these prices are so high. Okay. Number one, we have to realize that gas prices have gone up this last year. Fertilizer prices have gone up. A lot of people are priced out of the market. So just to kind of give you guys an understanding of how the hay, how hay works, for those of you that may not have, a whole bunch of knowledge on this agricultural process, most people can get, with fertilizer, you can get 3 cuttings. So a good hay farmer will be able to get 3 cuttings during the hay season. The hay season is between June and September, roughly. And a good hay farmer that knows what they're doing can get 3 cuttings with the help of fertilizer. Without the help of fertilizer, you're talking about 1-2 cuttings. I'd say most good farmers can get 2 cuttings. Okay. So without the fertilizer, you're talking about 1 whole cutting no longer there. And that's going to be significant once you start to realize what the numbers are on this. And so what we're seeing, if we just take 2021 numbers, we're just taking numbers from last year, not this year, not even projecting this year, but you're taking numbers from last year, you're going to see that nationally, there was a shortage of yield, right? So we yielded 35 to 40% less hay in 2021 than we did previous years. Okay, and to put that even into bigger perspective, my state alone was 40.7% lower yield, and we are one of the biggest hay exporters in the country. Okay, so that was from last year, right? And the fertilizer prices and the fertilizer shortage really started just a few months ago, right? Pretty much after the 3rd cutting was already done. So people are trying to get this stuff for this upcoming grow season. So we're talking about extreme fertilizer shortages, which most of you guys already know of. And now we're talking about extreme gas prices, petrol prices, diesel prices, extremely. So if we just take best case scenario is we can just recreate the numbers from last year and say we're only going to have a 40% decrease in yield. But I'm telling you, I'm fully expecting 60% decrease in hay production this year. That's a given. Everybody that I've talked to in the community, everybody that I know is expecting way less yields. I mean, I've talked to people that can't get fertilizer, and they're saying we're hoping for 2. We're hoping for 2 cuttings this year. That is crazy. That is it's beyond fathomable. I never thought that we would be in this position, because currently, and we'll punch some numbers here in a bit, but currently I am priced out of the hay market. I can't afford $25, $26 a bale. I can't afford it. I can't afford that, and you're talking about an extreme increase in prices. When I bought hay back in early 2020 from 3rd cutting from 2019, I was spending, from my hay guy, personal friend of mine, I was getting it, he was selling it for about $8 a bale. And we're not talking about pure alfalfa. We're talking about a mixed blend of orchard, alfalfa, and oatmeal grass. Okay. We're talking about, I was getting it at the friend rate is $6 a bale. I was getting it at. And he was selling for about $8 or $9 to everybody else. That was from 3rd cutting 2019. Grass prices, right? Hay prices. Now take that to where we're at today. He's able to sell that same bale, not even pure alfalfa. He's able to sell that same bale for $12 to $15 a bale locally, no problem. He's already seeing, he's literally doubled his prices, and nobody's even blinking an eye at it, because you can't get this stuff. You can't get it anywhere. And if you want to go to a feed store and buy it wholesale, $26 a bale. And then maybe for the mixed stuff, you might be able to get it for $22 for the lower quality stuff. Okay. And again, guys, we're just talking about hay. Okay. We're not even talking about grain. We're not even talking about feed grain and, corn and scratch grains. We're not even talking about that, because I've been priced out of that market for a year. I was watching, I don't know her name. You guys probably know her. She lives in Appalachia. I want to say Appalachia Homestead, but I'm not, I don't want to butcher it. I'm not sure. But she's been talking about all the food and gas prices and all that inflation and stuff. and she was saying that she used to be able to sell eggs for $2.50 a dozen, $3 a dozen back in 2018, and now the feed scratch prices, grain prices for chicken feed has gone up so much that in order for her to break even or make a small profit, she has to sell them for $1 an egg. And I talked about this last year. I have not bought chicken feed from my chickens or ducks in over a year, and I've been able to get away with it because we have a robust composting. We've been doing robust composting where they've been scratching at the compost and table scraps, and I get table scraps from friends and family. And if they want fresh eggs, they come with a 5-gallon bucket of table scraps, throw it to the chickens. I provide them eggs. I've had to get creative because I have already been priced out of that market. I'm already knowing that market is irrelevant to me because I can't afford it. I'm being honest. I am priced out of chicken feed. I am priced out of cattle feed and lamb feed. I'm priced out of that market. I do everything sustainably because that's the only way I can afford to do it. And so, unfortunately, people don't know what they don't know. And right now, what people don't know is they are already, without them even knowing it, because they're stuck and they're fixated on the stockpiling and hoarding mentality, the stockpiling and hoarding of their local groceries from their infrastructure grocery market. They're so fixated on that they don't even realize that once they want to make that transition, they're already priced out. They are 100% priced out of that market, and they don't even know it yet because they hadn't even looked at it yet. My sheep are going for hundreds of dollars more than they did in 2019. Hay prices are double, triple the prices they were in 2019. And people that don't even know what they don't know have no idea. They think they're going to be able to, I'll just transition to agriculture. I'm sorry, you're already priced out of it, and you don't even know it yet. You can't make this stuff up. All right, so let's talk about some other reasons why we can expect to see a huge shortage. Let's take a look at a couple other reasons. So we've talked about the fertilizer shortages. We've talked about fuel prices. We've talked about the price increase on fertilizer. Let's talk about something else. A lot of people don't realize that when we're talking about hay, we can't just talk about ourselves because we are global exporters of this stuff. So look at China, for example. China in 2021, just in the first 9 months, bought 1.3 million metric tons of premium alfalfa, the good stuff. And that's just alfalfa. We're not talking about all the other hay blends that are out there. Just alfalfa, they bought 1.3 metric tons of it. And to put that in perspective, just a couple years earlier, they bought only 500,000 metric tons. And now they're at 1.3 metric tons. And they plan to buy even more in 2022. So not only are prices going up, and not only historically have they paid more per metric ton, but they continue to buy at an exponentially higher rate because they are ramping up their agricultural system. They have over 10 million dairy cattle in China that they're trying to spin up. They are trying everything they can to get their agricultural market up and going. And so they are huge importers of our hay. Take a look at a few others. Japan, South Korea, United Emirates, Saudi Arabia have also increased its imports on all hay. Look at something else. According to the USDA, I don't know if you trust the numbers or not. Again, it'll all be in the sources below. And I want you guys to check my sources. I 110% not only want you to check my sources. If I am wrong about something, I want you to call me out. I want you to tell me, hey, you can't fucking read because that's not what your sources says. I want to be wrong on this. But the math doesn't lie. The sources don't lie. So let's say you believe the USDA numbers. According to what they have in stockpile, they have, according to them, 79 million tons of hay in stockpile right now. Now, that sounds like a lot, but we have to realize that they're down 15 million from just a few years earlier, they're down 15 million. And if you look at what our inventory was in 2004, we were almost at 120 million metric tons stockpiled in 2004. And this number just keeps dwindling. Okay. And again, if we are expecting just the same, if we're expecting the same yields as last year, which is not possible mathematically, it's not possible, but if we're expecting the same yields from last year, we can expect that our national stockpile to diminish at 6-7% annually without missing a beat. Truth be told, if we're going to be at what I predict at least 60% decrease in overall yield for hay, and that's going to be a new trend, we can expect to see that jump from 6% of lowering our national stockpile of hay to up to 10%. I mean, at that point, it'll be gone. It'll be gone in no time at all. And that was as of December 1st, 2021, 79 million metric tons, they say, in stockpile. And the USDA crop production annual summary also states, again, that there are 3% fewer hay acres this year compared to last year. And what does that mean? That just simply means that the people that are growing hay are starting to disappear. So 3%, and this is pretty standard every year, there's 3% less hay farmland. So we are setting ourselves up for a massive bubble burst. And again, I can't stress this enough. This is concerning because, again, people don't know what they don't know. This is the lifestyle I live, and I've had to get creative because I continuously get priced out of every market that I try to get in. So I have to do things, back to Eden, right? I have to go back to the way my forefathers did this because I can't afford chicken feed. So if I can't afford chicken feed, how do I have chicken eggs? Okay, do what they used to do before they had feed, commercial feed, composting, table scraps. Nothing goes to waste. Get the table scraps of your neighbors, friends, family. Make this work from a community setting. That's what we're currently doing. And again, hay is important. You got to think. If we just look at the prices, and hey, if you have one, and let's go back to talking about why people would be priced out of the market. Let's take a look at math. If I take a look at this math and I look at this logically, okay, one sheep, let's say you only have to feed one sheep during the harsh months, and I'm talking no grain inputs, no pelleted inputs, just hay, okay, for the rough season. And let's say your rough season is 4 months long, which is pretty standard nationwide. One sheep will eat 5 pounds of hay a day, okay? One sheep, 5 pounds. That means one standard bale a week, 4 standard bales a month. 4 times 4 is 16. At those prices, you're going to spend $416 if you buy the hay now for one sheep to last just the rough season. And that's not including, you're not going to feed them hay during the year. You're not going to feed them any other supplemental grains. That's just hay, $416. And you can't feed a family on one sheep. So let's be realistic. 9 ewes, 1 ram. That would be able to feed your family conservatively if you're sticking to a stringent budget here. That could provide all the meat your family needs for 1 year, and that's you breeding them and you going through that process. Okay, so just to feed, not the babies, just to feed your breeding stock of 10 sheep would cost you $4,160. So you're pretty much gonna, and that's if you buy at today's prices. That's pretty much a mortgage payment every fucking month during the rough season just to get your breeding stock to the next season. That's without buying feed. It's without buying grain. Just hay. The math does not lie. And again, people don't know what they don't know. And it's sad because I am looking at this from somebody who really could be, if I don't come up with a solution, there's no longer a way I'll be able to homestead anymore. I have to come up with a solution. And it's sad because everybody in this community knows this. And we all talk about this in our circles, but you're not seeing one prepper talk about it on the internet. You're not seeing one of them. You saw Bear Independent kind of hinted on it, and I think that he hinted on it purposefully because he talked about it, and he talked about how he had a hay guy. Because anybody in this industry, anybody that does homesteading and has done it for any period of time, we don't buy hay at the feed store. We have a hay guy. Just like he said that, hay guy. And he brought it up and he mentioned it briefly, and he talked about, oh, you know, stockpile hay for the winter months, and oh, hey, you know, pasture rotation. He talked about all this stuff, and then he kind of left generic. And I think that was just him like, let me drop some subtle hints, but people are not going to come out and say this is an issue, because by me doing this, I'm telling you that you're going to be my competitor, because we're all going to need to get our hay somehow. And nobody wants to be in competition with people that don't know that there's a problem yet. Because if you're smart, you're not going to say anything, because you're going to you got to look at your bottom line first. Basically, it is a risk letting the world know, right? Letting the preparedness community know. It's a risk letting you guys know that this is how bad the hay market is. I don't care, because I'm going to come up with a solution. I've already come up with a solution, and competition has never scared me, okay? I'm going to survive this. We're going to make it through, but I want you guys to know you don't know what you don't know. And I need you guys to look at the information, and if this is something that concerns you, then wake the fuck up. If you ever want to raise livestock, if you ever want to be able to be prepared and feed your family and go about this smartly and really be ready and prepared for whatever might be thrown at you, and really turn away from infrastructure to feed you, I'm telling you right now, you got to wake the fuck up. Let's talk about solutions. I'm going to tell you what my game plan is going into this in 2022. Stay tuned. All right, so now that you guys know what's factually happening, now that you guys have all the sources, now that you guys have a full picture understanding of what we're up against and what's going to happen and what's happening now, what are the solutions? Well, I can tell you, I have already reached out to friends. I've reached out to families. I even reached out to a CEO of a tech company. Okay, I've already done that. And what I am going to do is I have found some out-of-state producers that I have contacts with, and I have secured as of right now pricing for metric tons of hay. So I'm going to drive out of state with some very close family, and we are going to take our trailers and we are going to stock up on as much alfalfa hay as we can get our hands on. We're gonna stock up all of it. I'm going to take all of it, because I know what I need for my sheep. Because remember, I have 20 plus sheep. I have cattle, rabbits, you know, as far as things that eat hay. And so I know that I'm going to need it for the wintertime. Okay. I know I'm going to need it. The field is going to be hayed. My goal is to have enough hay for 2 years, because hay will store good for up to 3 years. I think 2 years is that magic number where you want to be. But most importantly, this gives me a few options. Okay. If I can secure it at the wholesale commercial rate, local commercial rate, and I can get enough of it once October timeframe comes, because that's when the prices are going to go significantly up. Every year they go significantly up in October, when, you know, the final cutting's gone and people that didn't get enough, they need to buy more. And this is where the price gouging happens. And I expect I'm expecting 600% increase on the price of hay. So this gives me a few options. If we're truly in a Mad Max situation, I'm going to hold on to it, and this is going to give me time to plan my next move. If we're not in a Mad Max situation, I already know that price inflation is going to be there. So now I can take this commodity I have and I can sell it at fair market value for what it is, and I can make a large profit, right? So if everyone's selling it for 600% increase, you know, and I sell for 450, 500% increase, I'm still 100% less, you know, I'm still a whole 100% less than what everybody else is selling it for, but I'm still going to make a very nice profit off that hay. So that's the first thing I'm going to do. Number two, I've talked to all sorts of people, because there is a lot of pasture out there that is owned by people that aren't necessarily doing anything with the property for many reasons. Number one, they don't have cattle. It's, generational land, or it's land that they've bought for a certain purpose that, hasn't come to fruition or whatever. So there is pasture land out there that is being held that's not pretty much in any market. I've reached out to some of these people and I've asked them, hey, how much do you want for your grass? And a lot of these people, I don't know, how much is grass worth? And so I've reached out to some of these people, and again, one of them is the CEO of a tech company, and they're pretty much okay with, well, if you get this field hayed for me, the same thing with anything else. We'll keep a percentage of it. You keep a percentage of it, and it's good for them because you sell it as, hey, this is land management. Okay, if you don't manage this, it could be a fire hazard. You're depending on how many saplings grow, your ground can get woody, and it could, basically, without managing your pasture, your fields here, they can get overrun, and it could be more issues than you for possible. So you're doing me a favor because I'm trying to feed my animals holistically and naturally, and it's good for you because you get your land, you get your property manicured, and you can keep a percentage of this commodity that I expect will probably go up. What do you say? And so around 110 acres of farmland, I think we're going to be able to hay that and keep a large percentage of that for our livestock. So not only am I going to go out of state and buy as many metric tons as I can get a hold of, but we're also going to reach out to these other, fields that are basically not being used and see if we can hay them, find somebody that's willing to hay them. And, again, you're just forming these relationships with people and bringing your networks in to make this all happen. So that is my plan going forward, just being honest with you. And I hope for those of you where this is going to be actionable information for you, that you guys consider it, because I know you're going to be a competitor out there for me, but I'd rather you be prepared because I know I am. I know I'm going to get through this. But again, for those of you that this is new news to, you don't know what you don't know. Okay. And so that's super important, and just something else to consider. Even if you don't have animals right now, this is a commodity. Everyone wants to talk about gold, silver, Bitcoin. Everybody wants to talk about that. And that's great. Talk about that. But even if you don't have livestock, if you have a way to store hay, you're going to be able to sell that hay at a minimum for double what you bought it for. That's free money. Literally buying hay right now is free money. It's free money. And so even if don't have any animals, take Magic Prepper, for example. He has a lot of property out there, wherever he's at. He has a lot of property. He has no animals yet. But if he has space to store up hay, so it's going to be a commodity that he's going to be able to sell exponentially higher for. So come October, if he's wanting to, sell his hay at a higher price than what he paid for it, double, he can use that money to buy animals or infrastructure or whatever. So again, even for those of you out there that are not in the livestock market, take a look at the facts. Take a look at the numbers. You tell me if you think the commodity is going to go up. For me, it's no brainer. So just something to think about, right? Commodities are what they are, and hay has intrinsic value. To all of us that are food producers. So that is my game plan. That is my goal. Again, I have reached out to all the big time prepping channels. I've sent emails. I don't want credit for this. I don't need credit for this. I just want people to know this. I want this information to get out there, and I want people to realize what they're up for and what they're up against. And yeah, again, I criticize the stockpiling and hoarding mentality because overall it's not helpful. But now we're in a point where, you don't know what you don't know. And people have no idea that, again, they're already priced out of the livestock market. People that are wanting to transition, they're already priced out of it. And this is, it's necessary. And again, like I said, we're not even talking about grain. We're not even talking about feed. We're just literally talking about hay. So think about it, guys. Figure out how to make this information actionable for you. Let your food producers know. Ask them what they think. Ask them to be honest with you. Again, do your own research, but I find this very concerning. The numbers don't lie. The stats don't lie. I mean, if anything, they're inflating their numbers. They're not giving us actual, So if the USDA is giving us inflated numbers, it just shows you how bad we're at. So either you believe them and that's 100% discerning, or they're lying to us and the numbers are actually smaller, and that's even more concerning. So there you have it. Again, don't be scared. I'm not trying to, no panic. Just make this information actionable for you. And if you have livestock, and if you have your hay guy, man, I would get as much as he's willing to sell you. So there you have it. If you have any questions, leave them in the comment section below. And as always, guys, long live the Republic. Long live the Republic.